All right, darlings, we're almost ready here. 30 seconds to airtime. We need Anne, Paul, Kevin, and the mic. Oh, Kevin, I see you haven't lost that bush yet, huh? Well, what are you trying to be, a hipster or something? Yeah. Well, I'm not sure I see it. Maybe it's more like a professorial look. Anyway, it's a good thing we're on radio, since no one will imagine you as Sam Spade, but that's all right. I just wanted to remind Anne, Paige, Toby, you're a little bit low. Our sound engineer says you're just a little faint on air, so close up to the mic. Maybe we're having a few mic problems, but that's okay. Just project, ears project. Now, we got about 10 seconds here. And everyone, please, positively no pee popping, right? Okay, right, all right. So, and watch those squeaky shoes, David. Did you change them?
I changed, yes.
Oh, absolutely great. Thank you so much. All right, so we're about ready. 5, 4, 3.
The hair-raising adventures of Sam Spade, Detective, brought to you by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the Hair.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Hello, sweetheart. It's me, Sammy the Spade.
Sam, is it over?
I'll tell you about it when I get there. What a day. I even had a fight with a, well, I guess you could call it a woman.
Why, everyone knows you can lick any woman your weight.
Not this one.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spire, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Presented each Sunday by Wild Root Cream Oil, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that will put your hair back in place again the way you want it. Why does a girl turn thumbs down on a man? According to a recent survey, 97 out of 100 girls dislike a man whose hair is either unkempt or too slicked down. So spruce up with Wild Root Cream Oil. 4 out of 5 users in a nationwide test preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. You'll love it too.
And now, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Oh, Sam, your eye. She did hurt you.
Yeah, that's not the half of it. But there's a hole in my pants pocket. Come on, shake the lead out of your pencil.
Look what I got, Sam. It writes underwater.
For this report, you'll need one that writes under Humphrey Bogart. Put it on our best stationery. I'm going to send it to the president of the Golden Trust Company. What's left of it. Ready?
I'm always ready, Sam.
Dear Mr. Newhall, you may consider this my final report. From here out, your daughter Anne is your problem. 2 weeks ago, you retained me. You suspected she was seeing a man known as Red O'Leary, a, quote, disreputable character. On the night of September 16th, I picked up the subject, your daughter, at the Blue Bottle Bar and Grill. She and Mr. O'Leary were seated in a booth in the rear, punishing the phony scotch. They just sat and talked. That's Anne talked, Red listened. Then I tailed them to a joint called Big Flora's on Telegraph Hill. I cooled my heels outside for a while, then went in after them. Big Flora's was a new grip gin mill on the hill. I drifted over to the bar and threw a fast case around the place. No local guns, strictly an out-of-state mob. Big Flora herself pinned me with a look when I entered. She stood at least 5'10" in my stocking feet, broad-shouldered, deep-bosomed, thick-armed, A pink accordion pleated throat. A handsome, brutal face.
Just get in town, dearie, or are you the local talent?
I'm from KC. That makes you happy?
KC, eh? What's your name?
I got a dozen. You like Little Morphy?
Little Morphy's dead.
I know. I was with him in the busted caper that croaked him. He gave me his name before he died.
Well, if that's so, you must be a right guy. Shake.
Ow!
What's the matter, kid? You soft? This calls for one on the house. Out of my way. Big Flora's mixing these herself. Meet my bartender, Papadopoulos.
Papa who?
Papadopoulos. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Was there anyone here in particular you wanted to meet?
How about that gold-plated mouse over there?
Her? That's Red O'Leary's property. Miss Ann Newhall. She came in here, slumming, I think they call it. Her and Red looked at each other, and dearie, that was love, I think they call it.
Yes, to talk to her might encourage trouble.
You shut up.
Please, I did not mean anything. No, Flora, no, do not strike me again.
Stop shaking, Papadopoulos. I'm not mad at you.
Flora, I got to see you in private.
Sure. Take over, honey. I got to talk to this boy.
Why do you let her knock you around like that, Pop?
What can I do?
Who's the gun she took into the back room?
Some gangster, I think. Vance is his name. Blue Point Vance.
Quite a few guns in here this evening. There's Patty the Mex. Haven't seen him since the days of the old beer mob. Fat Boy Clark, Cokie Harmon. That frizzy dame over there is Angel Grace Cardigan, isn't it?
Believe me, everyone here is a criminal. They've been drifting in here ever since that Red O'Leary came from San Francisco.
A new mob. Red O'Leary the big gun?
Please, I know nothing of such matters.
Any idea what's the caper?
I have no idea. I must wait on customer. Excuse me.
Sam Spade goes over and tells Red that Ann Newhall isn't his type, but maybe he's trying to get information for a future heist from her.
It couldn't be that you're rushing Ann Newhall because she knows her way around the Golden Gate Bank. Or might find out from her daddy.
Use your head, Sammy. You couldn't blow the Golden Gate with A-bombs. Montgomery Street's crawling with cops, bank guards who can lay their hands on more heavy artillery than 30 seconds than the mob ever saw in their lives.
Guys have been crazy enough to try it.
Not this guy.
Good. Now what about Ann Newhall?
What about Ann Newhall, Mr. Spade?
Oh, hello, Miss Newhall.
Mr. Spade, I'm sick and tired of being followed around. Red is very well qualified to protect me. And if you don't leave us alone, I'm going to ask him to protect me from you. Do I make myself clear?
Okay, sweetheart. I'll call your old man in the morning and tell him I'm through. And I'm going to tell him why I'm through.
Because Red threatened you?
No, sweetheart, that's not why. The why is because you aren't worth protecting. I went home and tried to forget Ann Newhall. I did, pretty nearly. But I couldn't shake the hunch I had about the mob in Big Flora's place. I kept thinking about them and about your bank, Mr. Newhall. Your bank and the bank that faced it across the street on Montgomery contained a good part of the cash money in the city of San Francisco. For a mob of cheap gunsels to knock over every one of those banks would be like splitting Gibraltar with a BB gun. But 100 really tough guns might just crack both of them at once. Next morning, I was reaching for the phone to call you when it rang. Yeah?
Mr. Spade, this is Tyler Newhall about my daughter.
Just a minute. I'll call you back, Mr. Newhall. 10 police squad cars were piled up near the corner, and the cops had been mowed down as they crawled out of the wreckage. The bandits had started the caper by knocking over the garage where the banks kept their rotten trucks. The gunsels had thrown up a barricade behind a truck. It was like the soundtrack of All Quiet on the Western Front. The Battle of Montgomery Street had begun.
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting Blood Money, an adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade.
Now, what real man wants a tonic that plasters his hair and gives it a greasy, sissified look? Wild Root Cream Oil never does that. It grooms your hair naturally. What man wants a hair tonic that makes him smell like a perfume factory? Wild Root Cream Oil never does that either. This grand, non-alcoholic product has just a slight masculine fragrance. Besides, it removes loose, ugly dandruff. So get the big economy size at your drug or toilet goods counter, and next time you visit your barber, ask him to use Wild Root Cream Oil on your hair.
And now, back to Blood Money, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
By 12 o'clock it was over. 16 coppers knocked off, 3 times that many wounded, and 12 innocent spectators, bank clerks and the like, killed. The bandits had lost 7 dead and 31 prisoners. The others, 100 odd, made a clean getaway. The size of their loot? Around $10 million.
Sam, there's a man outside. I think he's been shot. There's blood.
Stay in here.
The man was Blue Point Vance with 5 slugs in him. Vance tells Spade the Gunsels were knocking each other off and Red O'Leary is the big boss. Then...
Effie?
Yes, Sam. Dead?
Yeah. Call homicide and take the rest of the day off. For every mobster killed, there was a bigger chunk of blood money per man among the survivors. Around 6 in the evening, I walked up Telegraph Hill to Big Flores.
Well,
Wacky Washburn sent me.
step inside.
I thought I heard the door. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, I told you to keep your trap shut in front of the guests.
So, you and Papadopoulos are at it again. He your husband?
Him. Does little man love his big Flora?
No, Flora, please, not that.
What's the matter, honey? Don't you like to be hugged?
Yes, Flora, yes. But last time, my ribs, they had to tape me.
You should have heard him squeal when they pulled off the adhesive. Sit down, honey, before you fall down. You too. All right, talk. Who, what, and why?
I'm really Percy McGuire, and I want my 150 grand.
Spade poses as a gangster. Flora tells him he has to ask the big gun if he wants his cut. But when Papa starts to tell Spade who that is, Flora beats him up. Spade gets in the way.
When somebody rang the doorbell, I was on the carpet, saved by the bell.
Pardon me while I answer the door. We'll finish this later. Oh, let me just take your gun. I'm getting old, out of condition, but we had fun, didn't we? Help him up, Papadopoulos. Get him some water.
You are all right?
Jaw's not broken.
Stay close to me this evening. We will help each other against that she-devil.
That wouldn't be the big gun she's letting in now.
Yes, yes.
Step in here, kids. You know Red O'Leary and Miss Newhall.
Miss Flora, Red is badly hurt.
Oh.
We thought you might know a doctor we could trust.
Only doc I know got knocked off with that bunch on Fillmore Street.
Let me have a look at that, Red.
You, a doc? Mr. McGuire?
I don't think he'd last to the hospital and through the questioning they'd given before they'd touch this.
No, don't say that.
He's lost a lot of blood, but he's tough. I can dig out the slug. You got any disinfectant in the house?
Nothing but a little bottle of iodine, but it's mostly dried up.
You, listen carefully, Miss Newhall.
Yes?
Go down to the corner drugstore. Get some alcohol, swabs, iodine, cotton gauze, the kind with the blue cross on it. If he doesn't have that kind, tell him to phone out for some.
Spade sends Flora for more water. Papadopoulos tells Red and Sam that Flora will kill them, then begs to trade the loot for his own freedom.
Papadopoulos! Where is that stool pigeon? You're done. Both of you. You hear me?
No,
Done.
wait, Flora. Not here like this. Please, let me take them down into the cellar.
Okay, but make it quick, dearie. Call me when you're finished, and I'll help you haul them out of sight.
You will march ahead of me. If either one of you move, I will shoot you. I'm holding 2 guns on you.
So Big Flora was the boss. That's a laugh.
I followed him and Red O'Leary to the end of a low passageway. Papadopoulos clawed at the wall like a rat, and then we saw it. It was still in the boxes and bags the way it came carried from the banks. Hundreds of bundles of green money.
Now for that she-devil. When I bring her down the stairs, you will know what to do.
Yeah, Peppy. We don't know what to do.
He wasn't long. Flora came down the steps ahead of him. She had a gun in each hand. Her gray eyes were everywhere. Her head down like an animal's coming to a fight. Her nostrils quivered. Her body, coming down not fast, not slow, was balanced like a dancer's. She was a beautiful, fight-bred animal.
Come out, or I'll come and get you.
Stay here, Spade. I want the first crack at that old witch.
Red, come back here, you fool! Red!
Ah!
She dropped Red without moving a muscle that I could see. I didn't feel heroic myself. I just aimed the best way I knew how and squeezed the trigger.
You bungling idiot! You shot the wrong one.
I aimed for his leg, but I got him in the side. After that last scream, he didn't make any more noise. Big Flora let the guns fall from her hands and knelt down beside his body.
What did you do that for? Why didn't you shoot me instead?
I figured out who he was. Listen, Flora, don't you know he gave us guns so we'd knock you off and he'd have all the loot to himself?
He wasn't much of a man for muscle, but he had brains, see? He was smarter than you or any copper that ever lived. You killed a great man.
Yeah, you and he were quite a team. Nobody would have suspected that the arch gun of the biggest mob in history was Big Flora's whipping boy.
I never wanted to bat him around like I had to. I never
All right, come on down there. Come out with your hands behind your heads. This is the police.
After the cops had cleaned up at Big Flora's, I took your loving daughter on home in a taxi. Mr. Newhall, see itemized account enclosed. She was pretty broken up about Red O'Leary's death, but I think she'll recover. Please don't leave either your $10 million or your daughter lying around loose again, as the entire incident has caused me a great deal of trouble. Period. End of report.
Oh, Sam, I wished you'd just taken one little package of that money. They'd never have missed it.
Effie, I'm surprised at you. That would be unethical.
I don't know why you have to get ethical every time the installment is due on the office furniture, but I'll get used to it, I suppose, in time. Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
Holmstrom, Paul Dunstan, our announcer number 1, and Fire Chief personified, Toby Whitcomb, my co-host, who is the voice of Wildroot Creamwell, and he needs it too. Paige Brannon, who had to channel her evil side to be Big Flora. And our wonderful Anne Newhall and Effie, who is wearing her grandmother's beautiful vintage dress. This is the first time I've had to sit back and actually watch it and enjoy every moment of it. We put this together with 3 run-throughs. That's all. And this was just wonderful to see how these people drew from their own insights to make these characters really come alive. I had so much fun, and I had to finally put a restraint on the sound effects because Dad kept on having more fun and more fun with it. Boys making noise. Some of you might want to come and see what our whiskey bottle looks like.
I can't recommend the whiskey.
No, I'm afraid not. So I'm glad that you had an opportunity to come and enjoy our radio play and our Dashiell Hammett evening. We will be, as I said, in April having a Dorothy Parker evening, and I have some posters for that. And we also have announcements for our next season. Next season, we are going to be presenting Edith Wharton, Henry James, and the poet Emily Dickinson. So we don't have exact dates yet, but we do know the poets, the writers who will be chosen. So I will put these out here on the table. And does anyone have any comments or feedback, or would anyone like to have a collective Dashiell Hammett portrait made? I'd love to take some pictures.
It's quite a fire horn you had there, fire engine siren.
Oh,
Yes,
well.
where did that come from?